Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to say, hey Dan. Yeah, we're talking about Dan. It's not the most interesting named card ever. It's a little bit straightforward. A little bit unexciting name-wise. But I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, Dan can be a really good card. So let's have a look, shall we? Now, our translation does come from the lovely David Hockman over at limitlesstcg.com/translations. Great site, great dude, check him out. And Dan says, draw 2 cards, play rock, paper, scissors with your opponent. If you win, draw 2 more cards. How cool is that? It's a game within a game. I love this card. I absolutely love this card. Now, I've been telling you for a long time in the Pokemon trading card game that you can draw 4 cards. But when it comes to drawing 4 cards, it's not that simple. If you want to draw 4 cards, you've got to jump through some hoops. So some examples we've got at the moment are Lily's Full Force, which does let you draw 4 cards. But then at the end of your turn, if you've got 3 or more cards in your hand, you've got to shuffle hands into your deck until you've only got 2 cards in hand. Good now, bad in the future. Blaine's Quiz Show, where you put a Pokemon from your hand face down in front of you, you tell your opponent an attack name, and they've got to guess. If they guessed it right, they get 4 cards. If they didn't, you get 4 cards. Not the easiest way to actually go ahead and draw 4 cards. Evelyn lets you draw 4 cards, but only if your opponent is a Stage 1 Pokemon, and that's probably one of the better options we've got at the moment. Sophocles does let you draw 4 cards, but only if you first discard 2 cards from your hand, or at least it did before it was rotated out in Shining Legends, because that rotated out. So, it's not exactly that easy to draw 4. Roller Skater, now there are some which let you draw 2 and then they basically go up, but only if you meet certain conditions. So Roller Skater, you discard a card from your hand and draw 2, but if you discarded an energy card, you draw 4. That is one of the better ones. Coach Trainer lets you draw 2 cards, but if your active is a tag team Pokemon, then you get to draw 4 cards instead. It's phenomenal if you're playing a super heavy tag team deck. Outside of that, it's arguably a little bit too awkward. We've got Bug Catcher that lets you draw 2 cards and then flip a coin, and if heads, draw 2 more cards. But that's actual chance at this stage. It is a complete random 50-50 chance whether it works or not. That's not ideal. Samson Oak will let you draw 2 cards and then 4 if both active Pokemon are of the same type, which again is getting a little bit awkward. And my point here is that we've got plenty of options for drawing 4 cards, but none of them are ideal. What makes Dan better? Well, if you're playing a full-on tag team deck, play Coach Trainer. If you feel confident that you're always going to have an energy to discard, play Roller Skater. If you are feeling lucky, maybe play Bug Catcher. But if you're good enough at rock, paper, scissors, Dan's the man. And I'm sure a bunch of you know this, but for those that don't, in Japan, when you decide who goes first in a Pokemon tournament, it is generally not the done thing that you flip coins. Usually what happens is players will play a game of rock, paper, scissors, and the winner of rock, paper, scissors will go first. But rock, paper, scissors is not a random game. Now, I did go through this in a recent FAQ roundup, but I know not everyone might have watched that. It is a game of skill, and we actually have a proper list of rules, official Pokemon rules, when it comes to rock, paper, scissors. I kid you not. Now, rock, paper, scissors is, for those that don't know, you basically choose rock, paper, or scissors, you show it with your hand, and rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, paper beats rock. There are 3 options. And it is a game of skill. And the awesome thing here is that because of the Mewtwo from Unbroken Bonds, we do have official Pokemon trading card game tournament rules when it comes down to rock, paper, scissors. Here they are. It cannot end in a tie. You have to play until there is a winner. It is not okay to randomize. It is a game of strategy. You must not be randomizing your choice by any method. Can I use dice or cards to indicate my throw? Yes, you can, as long as it's a card. You cannot use a dice to indicate your choice, or a die, purely because it's too easy to manipulate. You can have clear rock, paper, or scissor cards, and have them and put one down instead. And the way you do it is you free count and then you simultaneously show. So it's 1, 2, 3, shoot. Or rock, paper, scissors, shoot, with the choice being shown on shoot. And I know that sounds terribly specific, and it is, but it actually became incredibly important a couple of years ago with Team Galactic's Wager, a card that was incredibly good and did see play in top-level decks at the Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championships. And Team Galactic's Wager, each player shuffled a hand into their deck. You played rock, paper, scissors. The winner drew 6, the loser drew 3. So if you were confident in your rock, paper, scissoring, you could actually use this to disrupt your opponent down to a 3-card hand, while also making sure that you went up to a 6-card hand. And there was a video going around on YouTube a while ago, just a fairly epic game of rock, paper, scissors, played by 2 of the best players in the world, to try and decide who got 6 cards and who got 3. I really like this as a draw card on the single condition that you feel confident in your rock, paper, scissoring skills. If you don't play this card. Because the fact of the matter is, draw 4 is not something we see. We don't get pure draw 4. We can draw 3. We saw it on How, we saw it on Hop, or we currently see it on Hop. But drawing 4 is different. And if anyone's wondering the difference between drawing 3 and drawing 4, you might want to see about the fact that Cynthia has been the best card in the game, draw-wise, for a while, whereas Tate and Liza has been an occasional tech in some decks. No one plays Tate and Liza over Cynthia, well, few people at least, even though you can choose to use it as a switch instead of just using it as a draw card. That's how good this is when you win rock, paper, scissors. Now, for anyone that's wondering, as far as I am aware, unless they've used different phrasing on cards, this is the 5th rock, paper, scissors card we've actually seen. There was the Mewtwo that for a water double colorless did 60 damage, 60 more if you won rock, paper, scissors. Back in Legendary Treasures, there was a Xatu, whereby you played rock, paper, scissors with a winner drawing 3 cards and the loser discarding the top 3 cards of their deck. That was awesome. The aforementioned Team Galactic's Wager and Misty's Duel, whereby the winner shuffled a hand into their deck and drew a new hand of 5 cards, and the loser didn't. It's not a mechanic we see very often, but it's a very, very cool one nonetheless. And I'm sorry, but that really does sum up how I feel about this, and how good I actually feel this card is. I don't think it's a phenomenal draw card that's going to be replacing stuff like Cynthia and Professor's Research. What I think it is a card which is a great option for pure draw. And in terms of pure draw, where you just draw, no caveat, it is the best we've got. Well, it's joint with all the other cards I've mentioned, but if you feel like you're going to win rock, paper, scissors, then it becomes the best option. It is an awkward card that is not necessarily reliable, but one of the things I do really love about this card, it's going to be out at pre-releases, which means at pre-releases a bunch of people are going to play it purely because you don't get many draw cards in a pre-release. You've got to take what you're given. And that means that we're actually at the pre-release for Rebel Clash going to see a whole bunch of people playing rock, paper, scissors just in the middle of the room, to decide whether they get to draw an extra 2 cards. And it's pre-releases, so the stakes are a little bit lower, but it's going to be so much fun, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be so much fun. I'm excited about this card. I don't know how highly I can recommend it as a draw card, just purely because we've got really good draw cards around at the moment. And although it is great as pure no downside draw, you've got to win rock, paper, scissors, and I suppose it's over to you. See how confident you feel. I'm giving it 3 Wassies, but if you reckon you can always win rock, paper, scissors, feel free to pump that score up a little bit. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to know what you think about it, and I'd very much like to know how good you think you are at rock, paper, scissors. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are pretty gosh darned awesome nonetheless. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.